Hi friends, in this IBM MQ tutorial series, we are going to learn various MQ commands. So, the agenda of this tutorial is we will see what are the normal MQ commands we use at the time of administration. We will learn about run MQSC interface by which we can create, delete, alter in queue and channels. Along with that, we will also see how to create a transmission queue and remote queue using command line, and we will see how to create sender and receiver channel. Okay, so let's first we will start with the how to create, start and delete a queue manager in MQ. Here we are going to use MQ 8.0. Okay, so let's come over here. Okay, so this is the machine where message queue 8.0 is installed. So the first thing what we need to do, we need to go to command line where the MQ is installed. So C program files IBM WebSphere MQ and bin. Okay, so first we will create a queue manager. For creating a queue manager, the command is, if you see over here, CRT-MQM -q, and this is the queue manager name. If we want to start a queue manager, STR-MQM. If you want to end or stop a queue manager, that is end MQM. Okay, so let's have one queue manager CRT MQM hyphen Q, and let's create a queue manager QM1. Okay, so it says creating or replacing default objects, and it's created. Okay, so we should be able to see a queue manager over here. Let me just refresh. It might take few seconds to get it refresh over here. Okay, till that point we will start this queue manager. So str mqm and queue manager name qm1. Okay, so it says it's starting. So now you can see over here this qm1 is created and it is started also. Okay, so if you want to stop this queue manager, so for that we are going to use end mqm. So end mqm and hyphen I and queue manager name. Okay, give it small. Queue manager name will be qm1. Okay, so it says this queue manager is stopping. This is an immediate stop. Okay, now we will use the command to delete a queue manager. So you can see over here this queue manager got stopped. Okay, so that is the delete qmgr dltmqm and queue manager name. Okay, so now we can see this queue manager is gone. Okay, so here we saw the commands CRT-MQM for creating a queue manager, STR-MQM, end-MQM, and DLT-MQM for deleting. So let's create a queue manager again, so which we can use for our purpose, -q and qm1. Okay, and I will just again start the same queue manager qm1. Okay, now we will discuss about run MQSC. Run MQSC as an interface which help us to create or alter objects of the queue manager. As we know, the basic objects of the queue managers are queues, channels, and listeners. So with this run MQFC interface, we can create queues or channels or listener, we can alter their properties, or we can delete. Okay, so let's say how to enter into run MQSC interface. You need to give this command run MQSC okay, and queue manager name qm1, okay, because I have created one queue manager qm1. So it says starting mqsc for queue manager qm1. Okay, now we will, in the next slide, so we will create a local queue, okay, and we will see some attributes of the local queue, and we will use the alter command to change some property in that queue. Okay, so for creating a local queue, the command is define, that's a keyword, ql, you can use as a queue local also, and here the queue name. Okay, so I have given the queue name as qm1.ql1. Okay, so as you know, at this point there is no queue, so we will create a queue over here. So define, okay, and ql, and here you can give the name of qm1.ql1. okay, fine. So it says this queue got created. Let's see. So this queue created. Okay, let's create one more queue. Okay, so define ql qm1.ql2. Fine. So next queue is also created. Now we will see that we will display the queue properties. Okay, so for that you need to write just command dis, that use for display, and ql because it's a local queue, and queue name qm1.ql1. that's it. So it will give the properties of this queue. So you can see over here, it shows the property of this queue, whether we can see over here, okay, what sort of queue it is a normal queue. We can see the queue depth also. So if you see, the maximum depth of the queue is 5000. Okay, now suppose we got a requirement, what we need to do for this qm, this the first queue, if you see over here qm1.ql1. okay, what we want to do, okay, if you see over here, maximum queue depth is 5000. We want to change it to 1000. So how to do this? So there is a command here, alter. Define command is to create a new object, alter to change any property. So alter and q, because it's a local queue, ql, and qm1 dot ql1. okay, so this queue we are going to alter. What property we are going to alter? That is a max depth, depth, and let's make it as a 1000. okay, so it says it executed successfully. And again, if I want to see whether this queue depth got a change, so display ql and qm1 dot ql1. okay, so here you can see max depth got changed to 1000. okay, let me see over here. So if you go here again, properties over here, extended, and you can see max depth of 1000. okay, this queue is a local queue. okay, we can make a local queue as a transmission queue. okay, so if we are creating a transmission queue over here from MQ client, so we can create a local queue, and we can give some name as a queue trans. okay, and next, and at this point we need to select as a transmission, so it will make the same local queue as a transmission queue. okay, so how to create a transmission queue? Through a command line. okay, so if you see, what we need to do, we just need to change the property of this local queue. If you see, the local queue property is normal. If I want to make the same queue as a transmission queue, I need to change this property from normal to transmission. okay, so again we will use the same command, alter ql qm1 dot ql, and what property I want to change? Usage, and that usage should be transmission. That's it, transmission. okay, so it says the command is wrong. Okay, so here what I need to do, okay, so in the same way we need to alter the property of uses. Okay, so alter ql qm1 dot ql1. Okay, what property I want to make? Uses. And here what I need to give as a xmitq, which will show this queue is a transmission queue. That's it. Okay, so it got changed. And I want to see again the property. So dis and qname ql qm1 dot ql1. Okay, so you can see this queue became as a transmission queue. If you want to check it over here, so you can see this queue got changed. Now it's a transmission queue. Okay, so it's a transmission queue. Clear? Okay, so till now we have seen in run MQSC interface how to create a local queue, how to display all the attributes of a local queue, and how to change the depth of that queue. Okay, now what we will do, we will try to put some message in a queue. Okay, and so amqs put command is used for putting messages in the queue, amqs get to read message from the queue. Okay, and amqs bcg is used for the browsing the message. Reading, if we will read a message from the queue, the message from the queue will be removed, but from the browse, the same message we can browse multiple times. Okay, so let's put some message in the queue. So for putting a message, I need to come out from this run MQSC interface. So END. Okay, so now I came out, and let's give the here amqs put. Okay, and simple, I just need to give the name of the queue. Okay, so qm1, sorry, qm1 dot ql1. Okay, so fine. So it says it's started now. Suppose I want to put a message. I'm going to put a message first. Hello world. Okay, so if I will enter, it will take as a second message. Okay, so again my second message I am going to have, what is your country? Okay, and again I am sending a third message, sample message. Okay, and if I want to come out, so I just need to do 2 times enter, first, second. Okay, so these 3 messages put in this queue. So we can see it over here. So qm1 dot ql1, it should have these 3 messages. So you can see these 3 messages are here. If you want to see these messages, and you can see all these 3 messages. First message, data, hello world. Same way, second message, data, what is your country? Okay, and third message, data, okay, sample message. Okay, we can read these message using amqs get command, and we can browse these message using the browse command. Okay, so first we will try to browse these message. Okay, so let's amqs bcg and qname ql1 dot, sorry, qm1 dot ql1. Okay, so you can see over here it shows the message header also along with the message. So if you see, this is the message, what is your country? The second message, before that it's showing the first message, hello world, what is your country? And you should be able to see the third message, sample message. Okay, fine. So we saw till now amqs put, amqs bcg browse command, and we will see now get command. Okay, so amqs get, when you will use, these three messages, okay, will be read. So here you will see the current queue depth as 0. So let's put mqs get and queue name qm1.ql1. Okay, so you can see over here all these three messages: hello world, what is your country, and sample message. Okay, so you can see, okay, and you can see over here current queue depth has come as 0. Okay, fine. So we saw how to put a message in a local queue, how to read a message, how to browse a message. Okay, clear command is used to clear the messages in the queue. Okay, and delete command is used for deleting the local queue. So let's see how to. So what we will do, we will put some messages, okay, in the queue, and we will clear that queue. Okay, so for putting the message, we can use amqs put command again. amqs put, oops, sorry, put, and ql1 dot qm1. Okay, and amqs put q. Okay, the name of the queue manager was wrong. Q was wrong, so amqs put, and it's qm1 dot ql1. Okay, so let me put the message: hi, hello world. Okay, so you should see there are two messages over here, two current queue depth, and now I want to clear this queue. Okay, so clearing this queue, just use clear command, clear queue name, since it's a local queue, so ql, and queue name qm1 dot ql1. Okay, oh, so it says clear. Okay, so the error came because this clear command we need to execute with from the run mqsc. So run mqsc and qm1. Now we can use this command: clear qm1 local queue qm1 dot ql1. Okay, so it says webshare mqq cleared, and you should be able to see here current queue depth as 0. So this command is working. Okay, so delete command is used for deleting the queue. So it's a very simple command, just write a simple delete and queue name ql qm1 dot ql1. Okay, and just queue over here purge, so this queue should be deleted. So you should be able to see over here this queue should not be present now. So we just deleted this queue, so let's create the same queue again. So define and ql qm1 dot ql1. Okay, so this queue again created, and let's come out from the run mqsc. Okay, fine. Now next slide, we will create a transmission queue. Transmission queue we have already seen, the same local queue, we just need to change the property. Okay, so we can create a transmission queue, okay, just like from this command, or we can change the property of a local queue using the alter command, and that local queue will be as a transmission queue. Okay, then we will create a remote queue. Okay, for creating a remote queue we need a remote queue manager. Okay, then we will try to change some property into the remote queue, and we will delete that remote queue. Okay, so let's come one by one. Create a transmission queue. So define ql, because it's a local queue. This is the name of the queue, this is the description. Okay, and then uses, this is the main thing, uses and transmission queue. This thing we need to mention whenever we are going to create a transmission queue. Okay, So let's create a transmission queue. SC and QM1. So okay, again we need to write same thing. Define QM1. Okay, done. Okay, so WebSphere MQ queue created transmission queue. So we should be able to see this queue over here. So QM1 dot Q trans1, it's a transmission queue. Okay, fine. The next queue we will create a remote queue. Okay, so for creating the remote queue, as we know, remote queue will have a definition of a local queue, and that local queue will exist in a remote queue manager. Okay, so to achieve that, what we will do over here, first we will create another queue manager. Okay, so crtmqm hyphen q, and let's make as a qm2. Okay, so it's created, then str mqm, and let's start this queue manager qm2. Okay, so this queue manager should be started now. Okay, now what we will do, we will make a local queue in qm2. Okay, and for that local 2 we will create a remote queue in qm1. Okay, so we know already how to create a local queue. Run mqsc and go inside the qm2. Okay, so we are inside the qm2, and local 2 queue define ql, and here just write as a qm2 dot ql1. Okay, so this queue got created, it's a local queue. Okay, and now let's come to end. Okay, now we need to create a local queue, remote queue into qm1. That remote queue will refer to this qm2.ql1. Okay, so as we know, whenever we want to create a remote queue, okay, if you see over here, new and remote queue definition, suppose let's give some name, remote next. Okay, uh, we need to give this definition, remote queue. This is the queue which this remote queue is referring. Okay, that is this one qm2.ql1, then remote queue manager name, and then transmission queue. What is the transmission queue you are going to use? Okay, so same way, if you see this command also, it's the same command. Create a remote queue, define queue remote qr, that is the name of the remote queue. Okay, description if you want to write anything. Okay, then this is the remote queue it's the name of the remote queue, our name remote queue, qm2.qr, for us it's qm2.ql1, and this is the name of the queue manager, and this is the name of the transmission queue. Okay, so let's execute this command, we'll see. Okay, so now we need to go to run mqsc and qm1, because we are going to create a remote queue in qm1. Okay, fine, so define. Okay, now queue remote queue name, so same way qm1 dot qr1. Okay, let's make it the name. Okay, then if you want to give some description, you can just give description. Okay, and here remote queue to local queue qm2 dot ql1. Okay, Fine. Now, okay, now we need to give this remote queue name. So our name, and what is the name of the remote queue? That is the qm2.ql1. Okay, and then remote queue manager name rqmname. Okay, and remote queue manager name is qm2. Okay, and then what is the name of the transmission queue? Okay, transmission queue we have created qm1 dot q trans 1. Let's just verify. So it's qm1 dot q trans 1. Okay, that's it. So this is our command execute. Okay, so it says executed correctly and this queue it's created. So you can see qm1 dot q trans 1. Okay, this is a new queue, qm1 dot qr1. This queue got created. Okay, fine. Now if you want to delete this queue as is written, we just need to use this command delete q remote and qr. Okay, if you want to change any property in this remote queue, alter q remote, and this is the name of the that remote queue. And suppose what we are doing, we want to enable put, so put enabled. Okay, so now we will see how to create alias queue. Okay, so let's okay, in alias queues also same way. Then you have to go inside run mqsc interface and then define qa for local queue. It will be a qr, sorry, ql. For alias queue it should be qa, and this is the that name of the alias queue. And what is the local queue? It is targeting target ql dot a. Okay, and same way we can change this alias queue also using the alter. So let's create a first alias queue. Okay, so we don't need to again run mqsc because I'm already there. So just define and qa. Okay, I gave some qa dot. Okay, let's qa dot qa1. Okay, let me just write qm1, same qm1 dot qa1. Okay, and target, what is the target? Target is qm1 dot ql1. Okay, that is the real queue and this is the alias queue. Okay, so this queue got created, alias queue. So let's see over here. Let's okay, you can see one alias queue type qm1 dot qa1. Okay, suppose if you want to change any property of this alias queue, same way you need to use the alter command, alter queue name. So what is the queue name we have used? qa qm1 dot qa1. Okay, what property you want to have? Suppose I want to change the put, disabled. Okay, fine. So it changed this property. Okay, so fine, this is the way we can create alias queue. So till now we have seen how to create queue manager, start and delete, what is the run mqsc interface, how to put read and browse message from a local queue. Okay, we saw transmission queue and remote queue and alias queue. Now we will create channels. Okay, so we will create a sender channel, receiver channel, and we will start those channel. Okay, so we are going to create a receiver channel. So define, okay, find channel, channel, define channel, and give the name of the channel. So let's, I gave as a qm2 dot send. Okay, sorry, not sender, it should be receiver. So receiver. Okay, and what is the channel type? So chltype. Okay, so it should be receiver. RCVR, okay, and then TRP, TYPE, TCP. So this channel got created. Same way, let's see over here, channel, this channel created. Same way we can create a sender channel. Okay, so but sender channel, when you create, we need to have these details. We need to have the detail about the connection name, okay, which queue manager is going to connect, what is the listener port, okay, and what is the transmission queue name. Okay, so for us, we are going to create in QM1. So define, okay, then channel CHANNEL, okay, let's make as a QM1 dot, okay, SENTER, okay, and then channel type CHLTYPE, okay, then what type of channel is sender, so FTR, okay, then we need to give the connection name CONNAME. So we need to remember, because for us both are in the same host, so we can just give as a local host, okay, and port number. So let's give it to the small, TRPTYPE. Let's make everything TCP, okay, and then transmission queue, queue trans 1. Let's just see whether transmission queue is correct. Okay, QM1 dot queue trans 1. Okay, so your sender channel is also created. So let's see over here. Okay, so I gave here 141. Oh, so you can see over here, sender channel is also created. Okay, so this is the command to start the channel. Okay, so start channel and channel name. Okay, so in this tutorial we learned about all the basic commands of MQ. We learned about the run MQ interface, and we learned about how to create channels, transmission queue, and remote queue. Okay, thank you. We will see some more tutorials in the next video. If you have any queries, please write down your queries in the comments. We will reply back as soon as possible. And if you want to have uh, to a training program in IBM related courses, please contact us in this email. Thank you.